787.
787 departure frequency 15 will be 1257.
257, thanks.
Another story, there was a story about how the boys learn how to hunt.
Mm-hmm.
They have to learn how to hunt, and they have to learn how to make their own arrows and fix their bows and, have their fishing tackle, I guess you call it, and all that, and learn how to camp out overnight and that sort of thing, because they go on a hunting trip.
Mm-hmm.
It might take 2 or 3 days. So they have to learn how to do all of that. And so back in those days, the uncle of the family was always responsible to be the teacher. He would teach the young boys, and these would be his nephews, and maybe he had sons also. But he would take all of these young boys. So he was the designated teacher. And so he decided he would take these boys and teach them how to hunt. And they would go on a hunting trip, teach them how to camp out. So he told them, now you get all your stuff together, get your blanket, get your arrows for your bows, you get fishing tackle, make sure you have knives, good, stuff like that. And because we're going to be staying overnight, might be 2 or 3 nights.
Sounds like a good weekend.
Yeah, whole weekend. And so get it all together, because we're all going to go as a group, camp together. So they did. The boys got all their gear together, And I always say their backpack.
Yeah.
Whatever.
All their gear.
Yeah. And so they all started out, and they were following Uncle. Uncle was leading the way. And there was a big lake there. So they were going to go way on the other side of this lake. So they started walking. So they were going along. As they were going along, well, the uncle would tell the boys, now you pay attention where we're going, because this is a long trip, so you don't want to get lost, So he was telling them how to do things, They were going along, but they weren't paying any attention to him. They were throwing rocks at each other and picking up sticks and stuff and teasing each other, and punching them and making them laugh and just playing. And so he would tell them, now you're not paying attention, you got to listen, because this stuff you need to learn. You got to know this. And we're going to go hunting. We're going to hunt for deer. We're going to hunt for little animals. We'll hunt for all kinds of stuff that your family has to have. So, okay. So they were going along, and the boys still not listening. They're still playing around, throwing rocks and acting goofy and stuff like that. So they get way on the far side of the lake, and they're still acting silly. I'm going to say silly. And so he said, now we're gonna go all the way around the lake. So when you were walking along, they'd see some little animals and stuff, and they'd kind of shoot at him and not really pay much attention to him, and turtles and stuff like that. And so they got on the other side of the lake, and so they camped. They set up their camp. They found some old logs, and they kind of made a camp around the logs there. And so as they were getting ready to fish, they're going to fish, and some of them were going to go hunting. And the uncle told them, says, we're going to let you, some of them went hunting, and some of them decided to fish, so they were fishing. But they were still playing. They just kept wanting to play all the time, just goofing around. So as they were trying to do what Uncle told them to do, pretty soon they looked up, and they heard this noise, and there was this giant turtle that was coming up out of the water. Came up out of the water, and he's coming up on the land, and he was walking along. Oh my gosh, they'd never seen anything like that. They thought, oh boy, this is going to be fun,
Yeah.
So they ran over to the giant turtle and they jumped on its back, and they were kind of acting like it was a horse and kind of whipping on it, and tormenting that poor turtle. And turtle just kept going. And so the uncle told him, says, boys, you don't treat that turtle that way. Now, turtles have families too. And said, and he has a mother and he's got a father. So you be nice to those animals. You got to be good to animals because they're going to be good to you. So anyway, no, they didn't listen to Uncle. They're still beating on the turtle and jumping on its back and jumping off and trying to ride it like a horse and everything. Yeah. And so they wouldn't listen to him. And so finally he said, now, you boys have got to behave because turtles have power too. They have power also. And you need to treat that turtle good. Treat it good so it'll treat you good. And so he says, it's time for us to go on now. Let's go on hunting. So come on, get off the turtle. Let's go. Well, they couldn't get off. They were stuck. They stuck. They were all on this turtle, and the turtle had them. They're just like glue on this turtle's back. And pretty soon the turtle turns around and starts going toward the lake. He goes in the lake. They get about halfway there, and the boys start yelling, Uncle, Uncle, help us, help us. We can't get off the turtle. He said, I told you. Turtles have their power too. So now, what you're doing, that turtle is going to punish you for. Oof. He said, I tried to get you to behave and mind me, and you wouldn't do it. So now, that turtle's going to take you with him. And he went down into the water. We never saw him again.
Oh, wow.
So what kind of a lesson does that teach?
Listen to your...
You be kind to animals.
And that, yeah.
Yeah. You can't beat up on them and
right.
stuff like that, you know. So you be good to those animals.
Right.
Don't torture them.
And listen to your uncle.
Oh, yeah. Listen to your uncle. When people tell you things to do, you do those things, you know. Because that's what Uncle is trying to teach you, how to behave.
And a lot of times when those, like that particular story, when it first came into reality, like that's the outcome that could happen if you didn't listen to your uncle or your mom. Like you could die.
Your
pretty
family,
easily.
You get punished for it.
Right.
And then sometimes it comes in different forms. You don't know.
Yeah.
You know. But somebody say, well, that's the accident. Well, an accident may happen on purpose.
Yeah, right. Yeah. So. See, like the punishments back in the day were that severe, you know. If you were going out.
Oh, yeah.
Basically, that was a survival trip. You know, this is how you survive. And by you learning how to survive, you'll help your family to survive and the tribe to survive.
Exactly.
And it goes on and on. Today, you know, sometimes the punishment doesn't come so swift if we don't listen to the people that are trying to teach us and things. So you can get away with a little bit more, and after a while it'll catch up.
If they were paying attention, and Uncle was going to teach them how to hunt for animals, you know, to take home like deer and feed their families, and fish in the lakes and in the waters and catch fish to take home to feed the family.
How to live.
Yeah,
you know,
how to live.
Teach them how to live.
Yeah. But instead, all they wanted to do was play.
Yeah. So that kind of also speaks on focusing on work rather than play. You know, there's a time for work and there's a time for play. And was the old saying, make hay when the sun is shining? You know, that's when it's time to work, you need to put in the time.
That's right.
And there will be a time to relax and enjoy your rewards. So,
because when they got older, then if they had to go on a hunting trip, they had to know how to do that.
Yeah, it added value to them.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
787. 787 departure frequency on the side will be 125 minutes.
25-7, thanks.